I also want to highlight, there is also a lot of opportunity for AI to help introduce a lot more efficiencies across the energy system. So although it may seem like a bit of a negative that, oh no, we're going to have to put a lot more potential fossil fuels to power AI data centers, I think there's going to be also a great opportunity to bring in some efficiencies as well.
Carbonsations, today's carbon industry leaders.
Welcome to the Carbonsations podcast, where we speak to some of the leading figures in the emerging carbon industry. For this episode, we're joined by Wendy Lam, the CEO of carbon capture technology provider Capsol Technologies, a company that's been in business for over a decade now and a genuine trailblazer in the space. Wendy, thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to speak to you today, and I'd like to start with first getting to know a little bit more about your background and what you used to do before entering the carbon capture industry.
Great to be here, Violet. Thanks for inviting myself and Capsol to the podcast. Yes, I'm dialing in from Oslo today, and we can go have a nice conversation. My background is, basically I joined as CEO of Capsol just about a year ago. Officially, it was February 15th. When I started. And actually prior to that, I was on the board for a few months. I already had the chance to get to know Capsol from the board perspective. And then before that, I was with basically my whole career in big international industrial companies, with GE, with Rolls-Royce, with Baker Hughes, working on various commercial and operational leader roles. And in my most recent role before coming to Capsol's board was on industrial decarbonization. So it had already been linked into the challenge that many industries have to reduce emissions. And my role was really helping them define their roadmap and understand all the different options to help them meet their goals. So I have to say that was a great way to get into the decarbonization space. And I'm super excited to be in Capsol in the role that I am now in, because I see so much opportunity, and we do have quite a bit of freedom as a company the size of Capsol to make impact. So yeah, having a lot of fun in this first year.
Excellent. Speaking of spearheading Capsol, how's that been so far, and what brought you to Capsol actually?
Yeah, so maybe if I say a little bit about my background, I studied engineering, so I've always been a technologist at heart. I've also studied business, and even in my early days, I was an environmentalist. In my high school, I was president of the Environment Club. But shortly after I went did my high school studies, I moved into engineering, and where I grew up. By the way, I grew up in Canada. I was born in Hong Kong, but I grew up in Canada in a very industrial automotive town. And when I told everybody I was going to be studying mechanical engineering, everybody thought, well, that's not very much of an environmentalist approach. And so I've always been faced with this dichotomy of being environmentally focused, but also working in industry. And I've come to learn through all these years that there is a way to bring it together. And I always felt that there was an opportunity for me to add value with understanding from industry to make an impact. So I saw this opportunity working at Baker Hughes. And then I guess at Capsol, I see an even bigger opportunity, because what is needed in carbon capture and emissions reduction is so urgent now. You can take into account all the options you have for decarbonizing, whether it's electrification or efficiency or using different fuels. And no matter which way you look at it, there is a need to capture or remove carbon from the atmosphere. So I just think there's a big opportunity now, and the timing is perfect for me to be jumping into this role.
Yeah, carbon capture for sure is like a very unique kind of marriage between climate action and industry. I was wondering if you could also tell us more about Capsol's business model, as well as what makes your carbon capture approach different from all the rest.
Sure. So Capsol, first of all, we are one of the very few publicly listed, pure play carbon capture technology companies in the world. And we operate as a licensor of our carbon capture technology. That means currently we are working with a capital light model. We are not taking any assets under our balance sheet at this moment. And how we are working with customers is by conducting engineering studies, also conducting demonstration campaigns with our mobile capture units, and using those methods to get to license agreements with our customers, which would be more in the future. So that's kind of the business model, and we have a great way of being able to run what we do in a way that where we can fund ourselves. We did a little capital raise last year, but largely we are in a modus of operating where we are self-sufficient. So that's the business model. But what makes us actually different from many other carbon capture approaches out there is that we are, number one, using an environmentally safe, non-toxic solvent. And again, we are, by the way, we're looking at post-combustion point source capture. And that's typically done with a solvent these days. So we're using a safe solvent. That's one. Second, I think your audience will know carbon capture is a very energy intensive process, and that's what makes it expensive. What we are able to do is build on this proven chemistry using that safe solvent. And by the way, the solvent is potassium carbonate. We call it hot potassium carbonate, which has been proven over many decades in hundreds of plants. We are building a system around that proven chemistry using inherent heat recovery and generation. That means we generate the heat and the energy we need for our process, but we can also generate more. For example, we can generate more for some of our customers to inject into their district heating, which can represent an additional revenue opportunity. Third, what makes us different is that we have an easy to implement model. One of our products is called Capsol End of Pipe, which means we can put our system, our plant on the back of an existing factory without much integration. So with no downtime or limited downtime, and it's all electric with little water need. That ease of implementation is really important to our customers. So, I mean, with those differentiators, we are already seeing quite a lot of attention from various sectors like cement, biomass, and waste energy, and of course, for our gas turbine solution, that inherent recovery that we can do can actually generate extra electricity for that space.
Lovely. And I don't know if this is the kind of data that you keep track of, but do you have like a rough estimate of your current capture capacity?
You mean in terms of capacity of our designs and projects that we're working on?
Yeah, like the amount of carbon capture that you can capture to date and like the amount that you're striving for.
Yeah. So one of being publicly listed, we are reporting on our mature project pipeline, which we count in terms of million tons of capture capacity. So currently our pipeline of mature projects where customers have paid us to do either engineering studies or the demonstration campaigns is close to about 17 million tons of CO2 capture capacity. Now, the rate of how quickly those go to FID will be different for each one, but we're very happy with this growth in this mature project pipeline. I think officially what we reported in Q3 was that it was a 60% increase from what we had the year before.
Wow, that's certainly very impressive.
Yeah.
And where is Capsol's technology applicable? Like what industries do you work with?
Yeah, so in that mature project pipeline that I just mentioned, about half of that is in the cement sector. I guess your listeners will probably know cement makes up 77 to 8% of the world's emissions. That sector is increasingly coming under pressure to decarbonize. So we're seeing a lot more action there. So more than half of our portfolio is in the cement sector. The other thing I'll mention about cement, the reason why we've gotten such big traction there is the energy use as the CO2 concentration increases is significantly, basically it lowers significantly with our solution because of our system. We simply have to put less energy into the compressor that we have into the system. So that's cement. The second area we grouped together biomass and waste to energy. And our customers there are, of course, driven by the potential to decarbonize, but they're also being motivated by the carbon removal markets. So one of our biggest customers in this space is Stockholm Exergi, which is nearing their FID on an 800,000 ton capture capacity plant in the middle of Stockholm. That plant is right in the middle of a residential area. So our HPC, hot potassium carbonate solution, has suited well and supported their environmental permitting. And also because our system generates extra heat, they will be using extra heat from our system to put into the district heating system. So that is the second sector. And then the third sector, which we have not actually put any numbers in terms of capture capacity yet, is because we've only looked at these models for various turbines, is for the gas turbine solution. It's called Capsol GT, where we are taking the high temperature exhaust from a gas turbine and using that to power the capture system and also generate extra electricity. We're already working with major turbine providers such as Siemens Energy and GE on this, and we completed a pre-feed on this solution last year for 3 standard turbine models, and then now we're looking at specific customer applications. So gas turbines, biomass, waste energy, and cement are major sectors. So we are getting inquiries already from others. For example, refinery is another area we're looking at. We just got an award in December for that. Pulp and paper is another area that's looking interesting too.
Excellent. On that note, Wendy, I was thinking also about your partnership with Sumitomo. I'd love it if you could please dive a little bit deeper into that and how your carbon capture solutions can be applied to biomass plants.
Sure. Yeah, Sumitomo Foster Wheeler has been a long partner of ours who we've worked with on biomass and waste to energy plants. I mean, they're an example of one of the industrial partners that we have across the space. And with Sumitomo, they have, of course, we have done studies for them, but they have clients of their own in this biomass waste to energy space. And what we have most recently done with them is deploy our CapsolGO demonstration units at a couple of their customer sites in Sweden. So through that work and through our work on studies for these customers, we are exploring how to co-deliver solutions for customers in this space. And I'll also add, we know every region is different, every customer is different in terms of who they want to partner with, in terms of an EPC or an engineering house. So we are also open-minded and agnostic to who we work with. And that is really to ensure that our customers can, put together the solution that works best for them.
Excellent. Thank you. I know also that since you mentioned the CapsolGO, I know that you recently launched your CapsolGO demonstration campaign in Lithuania. Could you also please tell us what is significant about this project?
Yeah, so this is also in the cements space. And this is with our customer, Schwenk, who is a major cement producer headquartered out of Germany. I'm actually really excited about this program. I'm actually headed out there later this week. And they will be hosting our first CapsolGO demonstration campaign at a cement site. So it's actually in Lithuania and Latvia. There's 2 sites that we will be working with them to test the process. And this is going to give us even more insight into how HPC in our process can work. And we're also discussing various types of collaboration with them and through academia. So this is a very exciting project for us. And I should also mention a similar campaign that we have announced just in December is with Holcim, another major cement producer. We will be putting one of our demonstration campaigns at one of their sites in Germany. So as you can see, it's just showing the attention we are getting in this space.
Absolutely. And is there a timeline for these projects? Like when do you expect to have kind of final results?
Yeah, we've not announced the demonstration campaigns are happening this year. The Lithuania, Latvia campaigns are this year. And then the projects that may follow after that, we have not communicated anything on that. The campaign with Holcim will be happening a little bit later in 2025, but it's all imminent. And we are also discussing many other campaigns with other customers through this year.
Okay. So on a slightly different note, I know that also Capsol has expanded to North America. Could you tell us, please, what North American projects you guys are working on? Are there any in operation already?
Yeah, North America is a very exciting market for us. It is going to be the largest market for CCS in the world. We've opened up our Houston office just last year with our new managing director, and we are hiring actively for some roles in that space. Yeah, we had just completed a project for our Capsol GT last year, based in the US. And we are continuing to further various customer conversations in North America. What I'll say is we're very excited about the prospects there. They are in those sectors I described earlier around the gas turbines and also waste to energy and cement. So what I can say right now is we're very excited about the opportunities there. Even with the change in administration, we do see that CCS seems to have bipartisan interests, and we are not slowing down at all.
Do you have kind of like a personal prediction of what the industry is going to look like, say, by the end of this year and then probably in the years leading up to 2030?
Yeah, I think, a lot of the CCS projects that have come to market to date have been in areas that have had more experience, the EOR and ethanol, and where there has been more pre-combustion type of projects, pre-combustion capture. And I think the post-combustion projects are definitely coming. As I mentioned already, certain industries are feeling a lot more pressure on their businesses to survive and be competitive. And that's going to drive action. This is driven by government policy, the carbon pricing. And then I think the other thing that is pushing for more capture is the voluntary carbon markets. The project I mentioned earlier with Stockholm Exergy, that is expected to go FID soon, and where we will be getting our first license agreements. That project attracted one of the largest CDR purchases from in the world, and that was from Microsoft. They bought 3.3 million tons of CO2 because they wanted the biogenic CO2. Stockholm Exergy is burning biomass, and when you capture CO2 off of that, you get a carbon negative solution. And those credits are highly valuable, and I think are going to continue driving this market. I know the US has already started to define more standards around how to qualify carbon removal. I was at the COP29 conference in Baku, where as an international standard for voluntary carbon markets, carbon markets in general, has been defined. So we do see an opportunity for the private sector to drive more incentives in this space. So we're very optimistic. And I mentioned already that Capsol is a licensor of technology, working on a capital light model. And what we are able to do with this model is monitor how this market develops and lean more as when the time comes. And with this model, we can actually expand easily into various markets and partner with those customers and industrial providers and engineering partners as we progress. So I think we're very, very excited about it, and just given our solution is a license model. It's a standalone, easy to integrate system. We are trying to make it easy for our customers to deploy carbon capture. Carbon capture is a very difficult thing to buy today, and we know this by the questions we get from our customers. They're asking questions around, how do I find storage solutions? How do I get investors? How do I get CDR interested parties? And we're excited to be a part of that. And we see a lot more opportunity to expand how we work in the future.
Do you guys actually offer any kind of storage solutions, or do you work with partners that offer such solutions, or are you just only about the capture part?
Yeah, right now we are focused on the capture technology. One of our partners named Storage, they are working on storage solutions, and we are already evaluating, that broader value chain with them. There are other partners we are looking at how to make carbon capture easier to buy as well. So it's an exciting space.
And utilization, is that something you guys are potentially looking into?
Yeah, absolutely. And it all depends on the volumes we're dealing with. A lot of our customers have probably too much volume for the utilization options that are available today. But we are actively working on connecting our customers today with some utilization options because our customers do need this, and sometimes storage isn't quite available. So we are kind of a connector of the various carbon capture value chain elements for our customers today. And that's just through our relationship. And it's probably a little bit more informal as it is now. But there is definitely an opportunity to provide something more concrete in terms of how the guiding our customers on how to implement these projects in the future.
Okay. And Wendy, are you guys looking into expanding into other regions currently?
Yeah, our focus right now, most of the market and our current customers in that mature project pipeline is in Europe. I've already mentioned the US and Canada. We call that the Americas as being our next priority. I've also spent some time in the Middle East. I was just in Abu Dhabi for Sustainability Week. And there are some very interesting project opportunities there that are also tied to some of our existing customers, which we will continue to evaluate. I think, and then Asia, of course, is following. You have Indonesia and Malaysia really looking at storage solutions, and that's going to tie together that market and the potential for growth in the APAC region. So that's probably following as well. It is global, and we have way more incoming inquiries from around the world than we can handle at the moment. But our focus is probably Europe and the Americas at the current time, with links to Middle East and other areas more opportunistically.
Yeah, certainly Malaysia and Indonesia are two countries that have seen a lot of interest towards carbon capture, specifically in the last couple of months, maybe. On a different note, there's a lot of talk about data centers and how they're going to cause a dramatic spike in energy use. How do you see this potentially impacting the carbon capture industry worldwide?
Yeah, no, this is a great question. We know the growth of energy demand coming from data centers is tremendous. And there is a limitation to how quickly some renewables can keep up with that. So I have seen, firsthand from a lot of my discussions that carbon capture on, for example, gas is going to be something that will be more explored in more depth in the near term. We've also been hearing powering of the AI data centers through waste to energy. And of course, carbon capture on the back of that is also interesting. So I think, there will definitely be a growth in opportunity for us with that. I also want to highlight, there is also a lot of opportunity for AI to help introduce a lot more efficiencies across the energy system. So although it may seem like a bit of a negative that, oh no, we're going to have to put a lot more potential fossil fuels to power AI data centers, I think there's going to be also a great opportunity to bring in some efficiencies as well. And I'm also encouraged, this is also some what I heard in Abu Dhabi for Sustainability Week, is there is a serious view on how to build sustainable data centers. And some of these parties building these data centers are quite serious about doing this in a good way. And what's interesting is they also have the pocketbook to fund it. So I see this AI data center demand is being actually a nice catalyst for us to maybe advance some of the solutions we've been trying to get in place more quickly for capture and other efficiency and low carbon type solutions.
All right, Wendy, it's tradition on this podcast that the final question be reserved to let you know what you're currently working on and what exciting new developments Capsol's got lined up, and if there's something that you can kind of give us a sneak peek into.
Yeah, well, you have mentioned the CapsolGO demonstration campaigns we have going in cement. So we're going to be learning a lot more from that, and we'll be looking to develop a lot further there. Our gas turbine solution as well, driven by energy demand of the power sector and data center area, is something that we are looking forward to. And of course, we are looking forward to this FID for Stockholm. That is going to be coming soon. And I think it's going to make a mark for the industry globally. It really isn't just a Stockholm or Scandinavian project. It is setting the way for how some of these projects can work. And we're going to look forward to working very closely with that team to implement this and make some more impact for the industry. We will be announcing more as we go. As you know, we are public. So everything we do, we are very transparent about it.
Wonderful. Well, certainly looking forward to reading about these announcements. Wendy, thank you so much for being here today. I really enjoyed speaking with you and learning about how Capsol is helping decarbonize industry. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks very much, Violet.
If you enjoyed this episode of the Carbonsations podcast and would like to hear more conversations like this, please be sure to subscribe. We really appreciate the support.